Well, thank you so much for joining us on this Friday on Weather AM. Well, the sunny conditions, blue skies, and moderate humidity has really made for a perfect couple of days. Great for getting outdoors and doing some outdoor activities, whether it is on a kayak or canoe like this, or golfing or hiking. And we have some good news in terms of those conditions as we go through the next couple of days as well. This afternoon across portions of Toronto, 22 degrees, feeling like 25. And then when we are talking about the conditions widespread across the GTA, 24 in Niagara Falls, 21 in Whitby. But the humidity is going to play a little bit of a factor today. Further inland, far away from the lakes, we can feel closer to the 30s. Kitchener feeling closer to 29, but right along the lake, we're still going to be looking and having that influence from the lake breeze. So slightly cooler conditions. 23 is what it's going to feel like in Whitby and 24 in Niagara Falls. Now for our afternoon, we're going to continue to look at some cloud cover lingering across the region. As we head into Saturday, however, some spotty showers can be expected. Very isolated in nature. Not everyone will be seeing one. However, we will start to see some of that warm up as we head into, well, next week. Now, when we are talking about the conditions that are coming in on Saturday, it's going to be thanks to this cold front that pushes on down. It's going to bring a little bit more of that northwesterly flow, but luckily the temperatures will not be taking that big of a hit, because as we head into next week, we're going to see a ridge that builds in across portions of southern Ontario and Ontario as a whole, and that's going to bring some perfect conditions across the region. We'll be back with more shortly. Alrighty, it is time for your regional forecast. We're going to be talking about the summer-like conditions and less about the fall. We can kind of see some of that foliage on the ground, a beautiful walk through the forest or creek or whatever this area is. I'm not too sure. But you know what? You're going to have a lot more opportunity of that as we do head into our next week. Now take a look at some of these temperatures. These are your temperatures heading through this afternoon. 22 degrees in Toronto, 26 in Kitchener. But as we head into next week, we are going to be looking at a shift in the jet stream. The ridge that has been sitting over portions of the prairies is going to shift into southern Ontario. This is going to bring with it an abundance of sunshine and more of that perfect patio weather, and even a little bit more of that extension if you like to golf. So if you have any plans to golf next week, I recommend booking your tee times a little bit earlier, because as soon as anyone sees these beautiful conditions headed our way next week, those tee times are going to get booked up pretty fast. So when we take a look over the next couple of days, the abundance of sunshine is going to be the big story. Heading into the middle of next week, near the end of next week, that's when we'll start to see that humidity return across portions of southern Ontario. With it, it's going to feel closer to the 30s as we head into next week. But I do want to highlight one thing. Yes, these warm, comfortable temperatures are on the way, but take a look at some of these overnight lows. Around 15 to 16 degrees. In my opinion, a little bit chilly nonetheless. However, for a lot of folks, that is comfortable, especially as we go through the overnight into the next morning. This weekend, however, 24 degrees Saturday into Sunday. But with all of this sunshine and warmer temperatures, unfortunately, we are going to be taking a look at that drought conditions continuing across southern Ontario. Over the next 10 days, we are going to be looking at minimal rainfall across portions of the GTA in and across southern Ontario. Take a look at some of this humidity as we head into next Wednesday. It's going to feel closer to those high 20s into the low 30s across portions of southern Ontario. But Saturday, we will get a few sprinkles of rainfall thanks to a cold front that's going to be nudging across the region. Now it's time for Share Your Weather with Chris Murphy.
All right, very good morning to you. It is Friday, September the 12th. And joining me today, we've got meteorologist Reet and Chris Murphy with you. Now, Rhythm, what are some of the things we're going to be talking about in this segment?
Well, we're going to be talking about some heavy rainfall across the western portion of Canada, eastern portion, maybe some patio weather.
Oh, there you go. Now, before we get to there, we're going to be talking about hiking. First of all, are you a hiker?
No.
I know you're a golfer.
I am a golfer.
Okay.
Me and my best friend have our annual hike trip to get in touch with nature, and that's our hiking for the year.
Getting in touch with nature. All right. Well, Mark Robinson recently went on quite a hike, and he was talking about, you know, how wind can be an impact. But there's one person that knows all about windstorms. It's Mark Robinson. All right, we're going to start off on the west coast, an atmospheric river, but not targeting southern areas so much.
No, it's going to be mainly the central portions of British Columbia. We'll really see that heavy rain move in heading into Saturday. However, Chris, when we are talking about this low pressure system, it's also going to bring some impacts up towards northern portions of Canada as well.
Well, that will be some good news because we know about the fires and the poor air quality. Now, we're not showing you much here, but it looks like Sunday we'll see some rain into the lower mainland and spreading into the southern interior. But let's have a look at the north here. And again, between Great Bear Lake and Great Slave Lake and along that Mackenzie River, looks like a decent soak.
And now we do have high pressure in place across the prairies, but that doesn't mean that we don't have the risk of some severe weather. Through the day today, we have that possibility of some of those severe storms bringing with them some of that large hail, a low pressure system moving over from the U.S. However, as we head into tomorrow, that's going to be a more impactful story.
Keep in mind that some of these storms are very, very localized. Yesterday, Winnipeg downtown, just a couple millimeters. You know, less than an hour south of there in Kleefeld, 125 millimeters of rain. That is a flooding rain. So just keep an eye on the skies. Some of these storms could pack a very soggy punch.
Absolutely. We're going to be looking at upwards of 30 to 50 millimeters for portions across southern Saskatchewan with a very humid air mass, so it's going to feel muggy. And then as we head into our day on Saturday for southern Ontario, we do have some spotty showers.
At best. And then after that, dry and really warming up, even getting a little humid next week as an area of high pressure moves in.
Plan your summer getaways with us. Check out the forecast for your next vacation filled with camping, golf, hikes, and outdoor adventures.